Cut the BS. How much do these go for?
Like 9.5.
$90?
Nine.
Like $9.
Nine.
$9?
Yeah.
Wow, this shoe is $9. Wow.
What do you think about that?
It's amazing because they're going for like, people are selling for like $500.
Do you think you could sell your own shoe?
I definitely could.
Let's talk about what really happened when China clapped back during the trade war. Not only did they raise tariffs on foreign goods, but Chinese manufacturers took that moment and hit back harder. They went straight to social media, TikTok, Zhao Shongshu, and pulled the curtain all the way back. Now the world's seeing that the $3,000 bag sitting in a glass case might have cost $60 to make in the same factory that's posting the receipts.
Some say as long as there's a tag saying made in China, the bag can never be luxury. However, in fact, more than 80% of the luxury bags in the world are made in China. But those luxury brands just won't acknowledge that. They take almost finished bags from China factories back to their own factories and just do the repackaging and logo installing, something like that. That way, the bags will appear at their boutiques as made in Italy or made in France. You know, those sophisticated European countries, which make you feel mysterious, royal, and thus luxury. Now, close your eyes. Let's just do a little, very easy experiment in your head, okay? Imagine that you have an Hermes bag, and suddenly the label on it changed from made in France into made in China, while everything else, like leathers, zippers, and hardware, remain the same. Do you suddenly feel that your bag is not as luxury as before? If you do, that means you have been misled and poisoned by the market campaign of those luxury brands for too long. Welcome to the real world. Now you see, those bags are made in China by our intelligent and diligent Chinese artisans. Let's not be poisoned and misled by the market campaign any longer and be a real person. Buy a bag from us, from our factory in China. See the real world for yourself.
Oh my God.
When the US and China got into that trade war, both sides started slapping tariffs on imports. China targeted luxury goods, Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Dior, by raising taxes up to 30 to 80% on each item. What was once a flex for status started looking like a scam.
I don't want to be that guy, but how did y'all not know that these bags and all these luxury items were not worth what they said they were worth? Like, where y'all been at? I remember back well over a decade ago when I was really into fashion and I wanted to go into design, I looked to where you would get this stuff manufactured. Like, where do they have all the materials and everything I need? Where do they put it together? What's the supply chain? That led me over to China. When I was looking up different materials and items and how much shipping costs, it is cheap. And I'm talking about the highest of the high quality stuff. It is cheap. There's no such thing as a $38,000 bag. All right. There's no special Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Birkin cow that they make the leather from. Okay. Common sense, folks. There's only so much that something can cost unless they're actually putting jewels, diamonds, rubies, pearls, sapphire, unless they're using actual precious metals like gold and silver. You're just getting regular metal. You're getting glue, thread. Even the highest quality thread ain't even gonna hit 3 figures. What are we talking about, folks? So when y'all paying hundreds of dollars for t-shirts, jeans, sneakers especially, I'm sorry, anything that can be glued together, I'm not paying 3 figures for. If I can't take it to a cobbler and get it fixed, it's not worth 3 figures. But y'all are out here buying this stuff actually thinking you flexing on somebody. These rappers then completely duped everybody because they were duped first. Ever since then, everything I've ever worn has been because I liked it, it looks good, it fits well, and it fits my budget. Because there's no such thing as a pair of jeans being worth over $50. There's no such thing as a t-shirt being worth over $20. And at best, sneakers, I might give you 80. I might. Depending on if I really, really like them, I might. But to be honest, I'm glad China is exposing everybody because this is long overdue because everything is too high priced over here in the United States, and they need to knock these prices down. I'm all for it. Keep exposing everybody.
And Chinese manufacturers, they said, oh, you want to play? They started posting exact replicas, sometimes the same OEM goods on TikTok and other apps, showing the stitching, the sourcing, even the cost breakdowns. Some of them even said, why are Americans paying thousands when we're making these for pennies?
When that Chinese man got on his app and said all the luxury items are made in China and they only go to Italy to have the tag put on it, the designer tag, and once that designer tag is put on it, now it can say made in Italy because only that small little percentage was actually made in Italy, but that's all it takes to say made in Italy. Now it makes it over here to our designer boutiques and we're spending thousands upon thousands of dollars for something that was in fact made in China, not Italy. I don't care how much you're spending on the thing. Chances are it is coming from China. The only part that was actually made in Italy was when they put the designer tag on there. And this is why the wealthiest of wealthy people buy inspired by items. Why? The Birkin sort of like Tupperware party that all the wealthy Upper East Side women in New York have. They're not spending money on real Birkins. They're not shucking and jiving for Birkin. They call the people over in China and get the same things. Okay. Yeah, so if you know that people actually have Birkin connects direct to manufacturer. That's how they're getting them made. But the wealthy people, the people who are not like going through the foolishness of the Birkin game, the people who could care less because they don't need to look rich, they're actually not trying to look rich because they are wealthy. That's the difference. Those are the people I'm talking about.
See, here's what these luxury brands didn't expect: that the very people making their products would go viral exposing the markup. Because once people started seeing that $4,500 bag was made for under $100, including labor, materials, and packaging, it wasn't about luxury anymore. It was about exploitation. Exploitation of workers, exploitation of perception, exploitation of American consumers who bought into the dream without realizing they were just buying the label.
I don't want to ruin the party, but you're not beating capitalism by cutting out the middleman. A lot of people are getting excited on TikTok because China is allowing their manufacturers to come onto this app and are showing you how they take a $3 bag and how it gets turned into a $3,000 bag by adding a logo. And naturally, this has us all thinking, well, if I can go straight to the source, why am I paying all this money? And it honestly just shows us that what we've been paying for isn't necessarily quality. It is more about branding, marketing, and perception. So on one hand, I do think it's good to see this illusion lose some of its power. But I've seen some people say this is a win for the people, and I want to slow that down just a little bit. Because honestly, this isn't some type of justice, it's a type of strategy. And China knows that this hits at a lot of Western brands. And during a trade war, it's leverage. This isn't being done out of solidarity, it's business. Even if we cut out the middleman, we're not cutting out the system. And look, this isn't about calling anybody out. I've bought way more things than I should have. It's about calling out what's actually going on, because buying direct doesn't mean buying ethically. What I really hope that people take from this moment is not how to shop smarter, but how to think deeper. For me, I'm seeing the crack and I'm saying wider. Get wider. True liberation doesn't come from cheaper goods. It comes when the workers own the factories. It comes when they own the brand, the story. Factories aren't worker co-ops. They still run on a top-down profit-driven system. Finding a deal is cool, okay? I'm not saying that. I love deals. I love finding cheaper goods. But when I say go deeper, I'm thinking, why do we need all this stuff in the first place as I sit here with all these clothes? I'm guilty of it too.
Americans are catching on, especially post-pandemic, post-inflation, post-layoffs. People are rethinking what value actually means. Luxury doesn't impress like it used to. Spending thousands to wear someone's initials, that ain't status anymore. That's submission to a marketing machine.
There's a few reasons why nobody could ever make me feel no way about wearing my shit from DHgate. A, you don't pay my bills. 2, I got on what I got on and I look good in what I got on. And Trace telling me things like I got this in the authentic version just lets me know that we got the same look, except I got it for less. Who's really financially literate here? I think it's me.
I know that's right.
Now buyers are asking, who made this? How much did it really cost to make? And can I get it DTC without the markup? And the answer, more and more, is yes. Direct to consumer is changing the game. Americans are skipping the luxury storefronts and going straight to the source. TikTok Shop, DHgate, Alibaba, even some small batch DTC brands working directly with Chinese suppliers. And you know what that does? Puts the power back in the hands of the buyer. Instead of paying for the name, people are paying for the product. It's not just about saving money, it's about reclaiming control. You're not being scammed by a logo anymore. You're choosing value, quality, and transparency. That's economic power, and it's growing.
I hope you know we can't come back from this. I hope you know you cannot come back from this. Steve Jobs always said, once technology is released, there's no going back. And I'm going to apply that same thought to what just happened this week. For the week, it was speculated that there was some market manipulation by the administration, and they dipped the stocks by talking about adding tariffs to countries, and then they brought it back up by pausing the tariffs for 90 days. Now, China is on this app showing us how to buy directly from the manufacturer. Do you understand the product you paid $10 for, $5 for? The manufacturers are literally saying, this is 20 cents, come get it. If you go to China or you link up with the manufacturer directly, and you pay $2 for a bag, even if they did 100% tariff, right? But the most you're going to be paying is $6, $7 or so. I'm not a mathematician, I'm a reporter. Y'all go figure that out. It's still cheaper for us to buy directly from the wholesaler and pay the tariff than to go to the retail stores. And we will never come back from that. Like, they didn't expect a shift in the marketplace. The ideology that Chinese people don't have American products and all of this yak. Y'all should have thought about that in the industrial age. Y'all should have thought about that when y'all was setting America up. But now they're silently saying, you see this Louis V bag that I made and I shipped to Italy, and then they put a label on it, and now they say it's Italian. You can get this bag for $3.99 straight from my factory. So they're like, okay, we used to adhere to America's copyright law, like you can't copy Louis Vuitton, you can't. They're like, no. Bye-bye. You want that Louis bag? Here's the manufacturer. Here's who assembled it. And you too can have a Louis bag. We will not be the same. And it's actually for the better.
China's tariff war didn't just shift trade policy. It shifted consumer consciousness. Luxury brands got exposed, consumers got smarter, and now the narratives flipped. So next time you see a $2,800 bag with gold trim and a made in China tag, remember, somebody's making a whole lot of money off your perception. The real flex in 2025 is knowing better and spending smarter. Let me know in the comments, are you still chasing the label or looking for value? Thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.
It needs to be studied how quick we lose the plot. It needs to be studied. If you guys haven't been paying attention, between this drama with Trump and China and the tariff situation, China lifted their ban on counterfeit products being made in China. And around the same time, we started to see an influx of Chinese sources basically saying, hey, the items that you guys think are fake, or the items that are being paid top dollar for, they're made in the same factory as the fakes, and they're not worth what you guys are paying for it for. It's literally costing us $5 to make, and you guys are paying thousands and thousands of dollars. We now have people on the internet literally arguing whether these people are telling the truth or not. When at the end of the day, the point still stands, is that we as American consumers are spending a lot of money for things that, one, don't really hold their value. And if they do hold their value, it's only because we place the value on them. You have girls who will literally get on a flight, go to Dubai, have a bunch of people boo-boo in their mouth for a bag. A bag that only costs $30, $40 to make. Sometimes not even that. That's the point of them coming out, letting you know that the way you guys are paying money for stuff, y'all don't have to pay as much money as you're being charged. That's the point of what they are saying. That point still stands, whether or not they're lying. When we get on here and we tell you guys, hey, that bag, yeah, it's cute, but I would rather you get out of debt, y'all get mad at us. Y'all will say, poor people deserve nice things. And I agree. Poor people do deserve nice things. But at what expense? At what expense do you deserve those nice things? You also deserve a life of not being frustrated about not being able to pay your bills, not being able to feed your kids, not being able to do fun things with your kids. You deserve a life that is not financially stressful. And that's the point a lot of us are trying to make. And y'all done lost the plot. Y'all on here arguing whether the Chinese people is telling the truth or not. Who cares? Who cares? You still broke.
我们一生注定是沧桑，苦之来